What's up, YouTubes? So my son is supposed to be coming down to pick up this car this weekend, but I'm having to put a pause on it due to the fact that it looks like I'm still very slowly losing a bit of coolant on this 2015 Mk7 Golf with a 1.8 T EA 888 Gen 3 engine. So just quick story on this. So I got this car for about $2,000 due to it having like a whole host of kind of faults on it. The owner said that the water pump was bad. I think he thought that was the only thing that was wrong with it. There was so much more wrong with it. But I did replace the water pump. After I replaced that, with my son, we found that there was still a coolant leak that looked like it was coming from like the middle of the car under the center console there. Well, it turned out it was leaking profusely from the heater core inside. So I replaced the heater core, and when I did that, I found there was a ton of sludge in it. There was so much sludge that I was concerned about how much sludge was also in the radiator. So I replaced the radiator just as a preventative measure, and just to not even have to worry about trying to flush all that junk out. So the heater core was about $100. The radiator was about $100. But it also turned out that the cooling system fan was bad. So that was about $200. So you know, about $300 for a water pump kit. Anyway, after all that, it seemed pretty solid. Most of the massive list of faults cleared up, and then you saw me do like the cam cover reseal. I went through and did so many other things on this. Well, over the last like couple of months, I thought that maybe the coolant was dropping a little bit. But my son messaged me. He was looking at it coming down this weekend. Sure enough, I don't know how well you can see the level, but it's about, you know, half an inch low. And I had filled it up to where it was, you know, all the way up. So it's lost some. It's taken about a month to do so. But I need to figure out why. And I'm pretty nervous. So I bought some tools that I should have bought to do a test that I should have done before I dove in on all this work. And so what I got at first, I got this combustion leak detector kit. I picked this up at O'Reilly's, but I'm going to take this back because after I bought it, I realized it has this vacuum pump line that you're supposed to figure out how to like give a vacuum source to. I don't have time for that. So instead, I went to Harbor Freight for pretty much exact same dollars, and I got this Maddox kit, which literally about the same money. But instead of having that line that you got to figure out like for every car, you know, where to hook up to, instead it's got this little, I don't know if it goes, yeah, it goes that way. So instead it's got this little deal. So instead of having to like connect to like a dedicated vacuum source, you do this, you squeeze that to put some vacuum on it to suck up. And then I guess the concept here is you fill this chemical, this test fluid, to that line as the engine's running. You know, with this, you know, with this in here, you see if exhaust gases migrate in, and then it's supposed to change the color of this fluid, you know, to like light yellow or something like that. I think just like you see in the picture here, right? So anyway, I'm about to do this test. It's got me scared. I really hope that you know, that I'm just losing it somewhere else. But the fact that I changed so many other components already, I really hope this isn't it. So what I'm gonna do next is I'm gonna lift the car up. I'm gonna get it on these jacks just so that, you know, in the process of troubleshooting this, I'm gonna crawl underneath and, you know, I wanna be able to see what's going on too. You know, if this doesn't end up being it. So anyway, let's get going. So let's see how this goes. Oh yeah, so I also got this dye for the coolant. So I'm gonna do the combustion gas test first though, just to put me either at ease or to get the bad news up front. But then if it turns out to be, you know, not if it's not that, I'm gonna use this dye, which somebody I talked to said they thought that the fluid was already fluorescent. It doesn't seem super fluorescent to me, but anyway, this stuff's supposed to turn it. It's supposed to be safe for all kinds of coolant, and it's supposed to make it like a, you know, give it like a bright green, whatever. So I've got this, and I happen to have this little flashlight that you know, has a UV light setting to it. So if this test goes well, we'll move on to trying to find it with this stuff. All right. So this is my first time using one of these. Like I said, this is probably, in reality, this is probably one of the first things I should have done. So let's just hope. I'm just hoping for the best here. This is going to be like kind of devastating for me and my son if it turns out that this thing needs a head gasket, which, I mean, what I do know is this thing was overheated, right? So, all right. And the guy before this, I don't know, they didn't figure out the coolant leak for a long time. All right, so here goes. All right, so now I gotta let this thing get up to temperature, I think, so that the thermostat opens up. But I'm just hoping this stuff stays blue. Just don't change. So on this car, whether or not you have the heater on, the coolant is always flowing through the heater core. So that's one of the things that I was looking up before I started this. Just because I wanted to make sure Yeah, I don't know what it would have to do with this test really, but just as far as identifying the leak in general, there is a really sweet smell of coolant in the cab, but there was so much coolant that was dumped in, you know, over the course of this previous person's ownership, when they didn't realize that's where one of the major leaks was. That it doesn't surprise me that the smell of coolant's still there, but again, like I'm not sure. I kept the panels off so I could watch the heater core. You know, for a while after I replaced it, and I didn't see anything. You know, I didn't see any leaks at the time, but you know, something small. It's very possible that something small developed, and that those O-rings just aren't doing the trick. But gonna check and see where we're at. All right, so thermostat is still not opened. Overall temperature is still pretty low right now, but I would say so far I don't feel like I'm seeing any change. The big question will be, once that thermostat kicks open, you know, and the rest of the passageways are open, do we get a change? So we did a carbon cleaning, you know, new spark plugs, new coil packs, new PCV, cleaned out the intake manifold, new brakes and rotors. So, and you know, that said, you know, I got full coverage on this thing, and we got hit by a hailstorm. So I paid $2,000. Insurance company paid out $2,000. So right now I'm only in this thing for parts and insurance. But okay, so it's showing 200 right now, which is, if anybody has one of these, you'd know that that's, you know, I would expect at this point, once it hits 200, for the thermostat to have opened, to begin cycling the fluid. So I might have to like roll this back. Just to see if I'm getting color change. I don't know if it's just me, but that kind of looks like it is a little bit. Maybe you guys could let me know, what you think in the comments. But I mean, what I do know is this thing was overheated really badly for a long time, and the fact that that valve cover gasket material was in such bad shape, and the other seals, like the oil cooler seal, was in. It actually wasn't the oil cooler seal that was so bad. It was the oil filter housing gasket to the block that was leaking. But I'm wondering if just the high temps that this thing was being forced to run at for a prolonged period, just did the damage that I'm fearing it did. And I think we just got confirmation of that. So I don't know what I'm going to do. You guys might be getting a head gasket video. Well, I think this is like worst possible outcome. So, but at the same time, now you see that the fluid has run back up to proper level, but that doesn't change the fact that the color's changed. I think this is about as positive of a result as you could get. Oh, okay, I'm shutting it off. Well, damn. In case anybody's wondering how fluorescent this stuff is, well, now I've got plenty of it to test, and it doesn't. Yeah, I'm not getting a whole lot from that. I don't think that's. Yeah, I would say at least this Xerox stuff, which normally I would just do like the actual legit Volkswagen stuff, but the fact that FCP Euro sends this out with their kits, I think it's probably just as good. But anyways, that Xerox stuff is definitely not fluorescent by itself. So, anyways.